Today's scripture passage comes from Matthew's Gospel, and the first reading is from Daniel. And it's really an interesting scripture passage, so I'm going to start with it with this question. Have you ever heard the expression, charity begins at home? Well, of course we all have. But there's something I put at the end. It's an old Deacon Arthur Millerism, and it is, charity may begin at home, but it's not supposed to stay there. And I think that pretty much defines what we see happening today. Because in the first reading, what we see is Azariah not trying to bargain with God, but just asking for mercy as a child of God. And it is only that. He's not trying to do anything else. He's not concerned or worried, it seems, about what is happening. He just wants God's profound mercy. So now we go over and we look at Matthew's Gospel. And in Matthew's Gospel, we have this serpent. This is a well-known story. It starts with Peter asking Christ, how many times should he forgive someone? And Peter, in his own way, says 7 times. Now, it's important to understand that during the time of Christ, the term 7, or the number 7, meant an infinite amount. And Christ says, well, no, not 7 times, 70 times 7. So far beyond our capacity to even imagine such a grand number that we are called to forgive. And right after this, Christ tells a parable about a master who has a servant. And that servant owes him some gargantuan amount of money, billions of dollars. And he forgives him his sin. He forgives him his debt. And the servant goes on and he meets one of his fellow servants who owes him a small amount, just a tiny, tiny fraction of what he's been forgiven. And the servant does not forgive his fellow servant and causes him to go to jail until he is able to pay the amount that he's owed. Well, the master hears of this, and he's upset. And he says to that servant, the one he had forgiven, that he takes back what his forgiveness was, that he is now liable for all that he owes, his entire debt. Well, so what's the lesson in this for us? Well, remember we talked about charity begins at home, but doesn't stay there? You see, a gift from God is not something that we hold on to, something we share. We share the gift of joy, the gift of belief, the gift of trust, the gift of generosity, the gift of forgiveness. And if we just keep it, it is no longer a gift. We are called to love one another. It is a gift God has given to us. Therefore, it is our responsibility to give that same love to our brothers and sisters without exception. This is what and who we're called to be and to do. And so when I said that charity begins at home, the question then becomes, what is home for you? Well, Christ answers that one as well. For all 3 Gospels, the Synoptic Gospels, Matthew, Mark, and Luke, speak of that story when Christ was told, when he was with a group, that his mother and his brothers were outside. And he says, well, who is my mother and my brothers and my sisters? Those who believe and trust and follow my word. Therefore, everyone is our brother and sisters, and our homes are only restricted to our own selfishness, for everyone is our brother and sister. As a consequence, we owe the gift that God has given to us to every single one of our brothers and sisters. That's love, that's kindness, that's generosity. It is forgiveness. And one of the most important people we have to forgive is ourselves. To be generous in our love of ourselves. We have to understand that these are gifts that we have been given by Christ, and we don't have the right not to accept them. And when we receive these gifts, we become the emissaries. We become the evangelists of God's love. And that way, when we wake up in the morning, we know that we have all of this ahead of us, all of this joy, all of this kindness. So it is with enthusiasm that we say, Lord, what are we going to do today? Bless you all.